Hello and welcome back to Everybody Loves Raiken, our 5th edition live play that meets on Tuesday nights. It's been a few weeks since our last meeting. We know that the end of every year gets really busy with holidays and travel and all that kind of thing. But we are back. It is actually the first Tuesday of 2024, so we're kicking off the year right. Everybody was able to make it, and I'm pretty pleased about that. When we last left off, the party was all gathered back together on Storm Reef Isle. The portion of the party that had gone to Raiken had managed to revive Bruenor, and then the Chaos Curse that Cyrus carries with him brought all of them back to Storm Reef to get everybody back together for the end of the year. And they spent the last session kind of trying to catch Bruenor up on the 2+ months that he missed as the party went from level 9 to level 20. I had said that he had spent 3 weeks with the party, but that's kind of wrong. He actually spent 4 weeks with the party because there was 1 week that was included in the celebration that you guys got after you saved Avangard. So he actually did have closer to a month with the party before he got petrified. A lot of interesting stuff going on there. He had a lot of questions. He went out and talked to members of the army, trying to learn and understand what might have been Tatsuya's goals in how he was running this army and what this group of people might be capable or incapable of. He didn't seem too pleased with what he saw. A few of them, when he told them that he was a former soldier, an actual trained officer, they were like, oh, good, you can help out, you can be an officer here, and he made it clear he didn't want to do that. Other than that, there was a bit of time spent getting the pendant that contains Tatsuya's soul separated from Raiken, as he won't stop talking to it in potentially public situations. So they've tossed the pendant into the Magnificent Mansion, and Laramendas has given Raiken the exact time that the mansion will disappear so that he can go and retrieve the pendant before it does so. I know that the group was fully joined up again in the room that they're staying in the World Over Inn, as they convinced Yukikaze to come in from training the army. So they're off on autopilot now. I believe they have the benefit of the dragon and the simulacra still. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, we pick up back in the room in the World Over Inn. You have just gotten Raiken to put the pendant into the Magnificent Mansion, and people were wondering at why it seemed he could still talk to his brother when he was in other dimensions, like the Bag of Holding.
He was in the Bag of Holding, and it was like, that's now concerning enough.
So, I know that, Lara, you had said that when time availed itself, you would want to identify the pendant.
The amount of rushing around that I, as an elf, need to do, it's uncomfortable.
Normally, I wouldn't worry about this for a couple years at a time.
Yeah, like maybe a month if I need to get to it soon. So the other thing that we had been talking about was trying to come up with the questions that we wanted to ask around Roen. So we had the 3 that had previously been written down as suggestions, as places to start, from Cyrus, which had been, is the name Roen enough to target the drow that traveled with this group with the gate spell? Is there anything that would prevent the gate spell from retrieving Roen? And is it likely that Roen would work against us? I think 1 is reasonable. 2, I guess, voice in the sky. Is there anything, is that going to encompass spells, entities, other devices and whatnot, or do you want us to be more specific?
You can, like, if you ask the question using the verbiage anything, then the answer yes no is just going to tell you something exists, but it won't tell you what that is. If you want to narrow down what it is, you would have to narrow it down.
Yeah. So, I mean, anything will give us that blanket of like something, whether it be one of the Lords of Hell, whether
Yeah.
it be a spell.
Yeah, anything
So
could
that
literally
would
be
yeah.
anything, like
Okay, cool.
including acts of AO.
Cool. That's what I wanted. Because then, if the answer is yes, we can then ask questions later to figure out what it is and how we might be able to get around it.
And if the answer is no, why is the power of AO not enough?
Well, it's not that could prevent; it's that would prevent. So that's just saying, as far as Ione is aware, AO does not intend to intervene in this regard. And then the third one, that is it likely that Roen would work against us? That was the one that I think should probably be reworded a bit, since likely is just a difficult thing to like. What exactly, for the purposes of a yes/no spell, is likely? So my suggestion in chat was something along the lines of, left to his own devices and released from hell, will Rowan take actions that lead to an undermining of us or our intentions for the children of Tiamat?
I mean, that seems like it might be given under the words left to his own devices, given that when he was on his own, that's kind of what started happening. So I'm not certain I like that particular part of the phrasing.
Well, so my reason, that makes sense. Just to start off, my reason for something along those lines is to try and figure out how much intervention in his actions we need to take. Because I don't know that we have the resources to fully be, keeping him under guard or something along those lines. There's too much that needs to happen now. So I think we need to figure out what needs to be done. Like, if we bring him to somewhere that we know is relatively safe, will that be fine? If we keep him with us, is that going to be okay? If we... that's more what I'm trying to get at for that. But I agree that left to his own devices, that question as it is asked is very likely to be a yes.
Or an unclear.
Is there a different thing that you would want there? Or just removed? Just having him be released from hell, will he do things against us in that regard? Again, I think the answer to that is very likely yes.
I don't know. Like I can't think of a better replacement.
So, is there a better sentiment that we can then phrase into a proper question? Because it could be that the way that this question is currently phrased is useless. So, is there a different idea that we can pare down into an appropriate question that you're thinking?
My thought is like if we release him and like try to help him, but that being player actions is almost always going to result in the DM giving back on clear because you don't really know what's going to happen in that case.
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts?
My understanding that everyone here is part of this discussion, including Bruenor.
And I think for Bruenor's sake, Laramentis has described how the spell functions, so Bruenor is aware of that.
Bruenor had also specifically shown interest in understanding Rowan's fate and why the party left him to it.
I have no good input at the moment.
Do you care what happens with Rowan?
Raiken cares. Just he's not sure how it compares to the whole dragon situation.
I mean, that could be Raiken's stated position. Like, is this something to worry about now or deal with later?
That would probably be his position.
That is kind of the stance we've all taken as we've gone. Laramentis has consistently convinced us that is the stance we should take.
I have a suggestion. The spell Sequester. Do we think that we can convince him to be willing to be sequestered for we'll have to do it for a specific set of time or one of us ending it earlier so that he is not going to never be released from the spell. But has Laramentis explained sequester to everyone?
You've talked about it with the dragon scales quite a few times.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like some sort of long magical imprisonment with a very specific set of circumstances that you can choose.
Right, and for a creature specifically, they go into a state of suspended animation. So time does not pass for them, everything is fine and normal and all of that. So it's very safe for a creature as long as there is a trigger that will release them from this, or they have a very, very powerful friend.
So, let me throw this suggestion back at you. Well, no, Cyrus cannot make the suggestion. I need to shut up. Because that's more Roen.
Laramentis did not say, do we think that Rowan will allow Laramentis to convince him of this?
I could try to convince him. Pretty convincing.
Waggle my eyebrows and adjust my head at him.
I was sort of his friend. So
Enough castings of gas on him.
I can say this. You want to release him from what's most likely one prison, to then immediately throw him in another.
It isn't a prison.
No, it's going from literal hell to I'm going to sleep for a bit.
Yeah,
Literally, it would just feel like, but I really don't expect him to trust us in the least.
I was gonna say, that's assuming that he trusts you enough that he expects it to actually be for whatever duration or circumstances you say, as opposed to just, let's make this indefinitely not a problem.
The spell is in action. I mean, I would say indefinitely not a problem is a superior state of being for him than indefinitely being tortured in hell. But he might not agree. And it's because I just looked at the spell. It is just an action to cast it, so there isn't like he would be able to tell as I am casting the spell that the trigger is not what we promised it would be and all of that kind of
I mean, if you want to go that route, just save a sorcery point and subtle cast it then.
Does the target have to be willing?
Yes, they have to be willing.
Ah.
So yeah, that's the issue.
So, I mean, there are magics that could make him willing.
I mean,
Want to charm him and then sequester him?
I feel like we should, at the very least, ask the first two questions we have. Pick a different third one for now if we need to. Because at the very least, if 2 is yes, something will stop us, then the rest of this conversation might be pointless.
It's true, and if 1 is no, then
it's definitely
we then need to
pointless.
figure out what we would need to do to even learn what we would need to. So, do we have a third question so we can get the initial answers out of the way? It does not have to be something regarding Rowan. Is there anything that anyone wanted to know?
No, I'm good there, Amandus.
I'm good too.
Is there anything that would prevent Roen from staying on the material plane? Is there perhaps something that has him, that might drag him back a few seconds later, type thing? Not the most likely, I'll admit, but it's something.
If can I make a religion check?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking 9 on die. It's a 23. If I were a devil and I had a new toy, and that new toy was ripped away from me, how likely am I to go and want to fetch my new toy?
With a 23 on religion, if you were a devil and all of that, probably pretty likely.
Okay.
Somebody's messing with deals, which are binding contracts, and that doesn't fly.
Like, I'm expecting someone to at least try to come retrieve him. What I'm curious is, does the deal itself have the ability to drag him back? Like, could there be something that's not like a creature that will not permit him to stay?
Is there magic upon him that would, on its own, bring him back to hell?
Or something that would just hurt him if he stays in the material plane? Like, so my answer is, like, would there be something that stops him from being able to stay outside of hell?
None of these are unreasonable suggestions. The devils could have a clause in there that says that if he's pulled out by any means, he gets brought back after a certain amount of time, or they could just be able to track him, and they're pretty good, depending on their rank, at leaving hell. Some are very bad at leaving hell, but others, higher rank ones, they can kind of come and go as they please.
Yeah. It's not unreasonable for us to think that the one who is currently in possession of him is... We should plan for the situation that the one currently in possession of him has an easy time getting out of hell. At least for enough time to fetch the new toy. Draft 1. Is there any part of a deal made involving Roen that would cause him to return to hell if he was teleported out? Trying to cover the situation of he's under essentially the effects of a gas which would make him want to return there so that he didn't take, damage every day and all of that kind of stuff, since that would be
I would want to make
causing
an addendum of, say, deal or spell. As that
okay.
could.
Yeah, because a spell
is
on him
itself.
for that. Yeah, that wouldn't need to be part of a deal. They could do it outside of it. Okay. Is there any part of a deal made involving Roen or a spell upon him that would cause him to return to hell if he was teleported out?
I think that's a good third question.
Is there anyone who doesn't like the phrasing of that question?
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, the questions, just so everyone is on the right page, are... is the name Roen enough to target the drow who had been traveling with us with the gate spell? I guess to the voice in the sky, is that... Can I make an intelligence check?
You can always make an intelligence check, but I just need to know what the question is so that I can...
Yeah. So basically, I'm... The phrasing of these questions, I guess specifically for the first one, is that, name description enough to give us what we're actually asking for with the spell?
You specified that it was the drow traveling with you, which you've only had 3 of those, and only one of them was named Roen.
Yeah. So I feel relatively confident that that's
Yes.
going to give us what we want. Cool. Is there anything that would prevent the gate spell from retrieving Roen? I am perfectly content with that. And then that last one of, is there any part of a deal made involving Roen or a spell upon him that would cause him to return to hell if he was teleported out? We are content with the phrasing of all three of them.
I am.
Yeah.
I think it sounds
Cool.
good.
Then let's get that first commune out of the way.
Okay.
Let's shut the holy water.
Pull out my little bowl.
A good idea. The bowl makes it so that the voice does not vibrate the whole building.
Not sure how that. Do you possibly do this in a different room? I believe there's still a private sanctum in place.
It's technically divination, isn't it?
It's divination, but I don't
not
think
of
I'm the
this room.
target. I don't think anyone in this room is the target of a divination spell, which I think is the phrasing of Magnificent Mansion. Not Private Sanctum, sorry.
I will simply pose the question. If they aren't divining you, then how does the entity that's answering know how to answer questions that ask about your relationship to other people?
Oh, and the commune spell is range self, so it is cast upon yourself.
Okay.
So I'll go into the
Magnificent Mansion.
yeah.
That should be reasonable. It's on another plane of existence and not part of the, only its entrance is in the, the entrance on that plane. It's the only thing that's inside that spell. So,
If anything, it might help with based on how the demi-plane worked. Had some divine visitors in that thing.
alright, so...
I don't think I want to have that be an easier method of communicating with the divine in a... I don't like the implications of that. The implications of the demi-plane, I'm okay with. Because, just a ball of stone floating in the astral sea that you requisition occasionally. But, I don't know, it feels worse if you're creating a mansion that functions like that.
I mean, mansions are also planes of existence that aren't full ones on the axis, so they're technically demi-planes. They're pocket dimensions.
Concerning.
So I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it doesn't seem like they're different enough for it not to be possible.
Yeah. No, I think it's entirely reasonable. I think Lara Mendes doesn't like the idea at the moment.
So just GM tools and
Anyone
is everybody gonna go to
unfortunately
the
who is not
mansion?
Bruenor is welcome to join me. I had not known that you were going to be with us, and so the spell is not designed to allow you through. Lara Mendes says to Bruenor.
I'm coming.
I'm coming.
Kettle says, I'll go. And Bruno says, well, I'll go check out the army, so see what I can do.
Okay. Then there we go.
We will only be a minute or so, Bruenor, if you'd like to stay around so that we can inform you of what we've learned. Just double check the actual amount of time for the spell. I think it is a minute.
It's a minute.
It's 11 minutes because it needs to be cast as a ritual. So Lara Mendes will say that. So I guess it more if you want to come back in 11 minutes, then we'll have the answers.
The answers you seek.
Even though Bruenor was only gone for a set amount of time, the stuff with the dragons he wasn't part of, right?
I think
Out of character. When did we found out about the dragons again?
there were rumblings of it, but we did not know what was going on with the multiple dragons.
Yeah, so
There were bits and pieces that we could have put together to learn earlier, but we didn't fully put everything together until after Bruenor.
The party didn't know about multiple dragons until we hit the desert. Before that, it was just Bala.
Correct.
That's right. Alright, I just wanted to make sure, just for my thought process.
Yep, that's fine.
Alright.
I just need to know 3 things. Is Bruenor going to wait here, or is he just going to bop off to the army?
He's gonna pop up.
Okay. Is Yukikaze going into the mansion with the others, or is he going back to the army with Bruenor?
That's why I was asking the question, was for the fact of whether what he knew was... I didn't want him talking about things that we didn't want him talking about with the army, but he doesn't have anything that is a concern.
I mean, we so out of character, we did bring him quite a bit up to speed. There was a comment that Laramentis had made, I think, the last session, reminding everyone that everything said in this room is like the highest confidence.
Okay, that's right.
With the implication of a request, don't share it with anyone outside of this room.
Okay. Well, I guess then I will. Bruenor doesn't need me to babysit him, so I'll come in to the mansion.
Okay. And Raiken, are you also going with the others to the mansion?
Yes.
Okay. Then everybody except Bruenor heads off to the mansion. I will do a map change.
I should have realized that we were going to go and rescue our long-lost friend. I cast the spell at 6 in the morning.
Alright. All of you, less Bruenor, who leaves the inn, or you see him leave the room at least, head into the magnificent mansion. You appear. It's a bright, sunny day, as long as you don't look up at the sky. And
The bright sunny day, even if you look up, it's just wrong.
The doors...
But really, who looks up, you know?
Yeah. The doors stand open, and you can see 2 of the servants waiting to greet you. You know that it's quite unusual. Usually they just wait inside to be called upon, and the place looks closed up, so... Different.
Concerning different, or just like they decided to be different?
I guess concerning enough that there is a dragon now.
I have the space now. Might as well stretch out.
Dragon. If you're concerned, you can talk to the servants that are waiting by the door.
I think it's noteworthy enough that Laramentis would. Like Laramentis begins to just walk in as if it was normal, and then just stops and looks and turns to Sebastian.
Always Sebastian. Sebastian is there.
Is there something that we need to be informed of?
He kind of looks around a little, wide-eyed, as though he's just, taking things in and thinking very hard about how to answer this, and then turns back and says, well, Vendar was coming and going very frequently. We figured it was easier for everyone to just keep the doors open.
Ah.
Welcome home, Master.
Thank you. And I think there is that pause on his part of I suppose. And then Laramentis walks in, and I'm going to teleport myself into the library.
Yep. It does smell awful in here. He had left his purple worm poison cooking while he was out talking to you guys. When you come back, Vendar, I need you to roll a check for me at disadvantage. Medicine check. That you use for poisons.
Oh, it smells disgusting in here.
I'm at disadvantage,
Yes, because you were away.
but I do still have reliable count, so I can't roll a 10, right?
I mean, if it's one of your trained skills, that is true.
I do have a proficiency in.
Okay. And yes, you have reliable tell.
18 then.
18. Alright. You come back, and some of them are boiling over a bit. You were out there stuck in that conversation a little longer than you thought you might be, given everything that was going on. And so you had left these on low, thinking, if I'm gone 10-15 minutes and then I come back, everything should be fine, but you were gone like an hour. So you're going to come back and save the majority of it, but you know that some of it is damaged by this.
Out of character. My poor floor.
Poor purple worm poison. I wasted some of it.
I think that you have plenty. I also think we should do this in the sitting room.
I can't. You come all the way to the library, see that, go, oh, right. Head back to the sitting room. Whee!
Vendor will wait 10 minutes and come over.
Yeah, as Larmindus is leaving, he's saying, I'm going to begin casting the spell in the sitting room. Anyone is welcome to join me, or come when the questions are going to be asked. And then, as soon as Larmindus gets here, he starts the ritual, unless when he said that, somebody stops him and suggests that he wait.
I hear no objections.
Cool. So yeah, as soon as I start casting.
Alright. By the end of 10 minutes, everybody is able to be over here, including Vendar. Vendar, you've set your stuff up at a much lower heat this time. You've recovered what you can. You know you've lost a little bit. It's sad. But you salvaged the vast majority of it. And when you get back, Larmindus is just finishing the preparation of the spell. You may begin asking questions as you set the bowl of water on the table upon which Cyrus is standing. Imagine he's just like crouched next to it, staring into
just looking at it, watching as any ripples that might occur.
The 2 inches of unfathomable depths of liquid within.
Oh my god, it's full of stars. That's where all the stars in this place went. Anyway, so first question. Is the name Roen enough to target the drow that traveled with this group with the gate spell?
The bowl of water ripples and a small voice exudes, to which Ash nods at you and says, yes.
Is there anything that would prevent the gate spell from retrieving Roen?
There is a ripple again, and it says, Ash says, no.
Just don't want to make this easy for us. That's Sam to Tristan. Is there any part of a deal made involving Roen or a spell upon him that would cause him to return to hell if he was teleported out?
Yes.
Interesting.
Make it easy for you. No, I'm making it easy for you to fuck yourself.
So mean.
Yeah.
we're just little guys.
Look, I dangle carrot, and the moment you reach for it, I hit you with the stick!
I am going to do the normal copy of the questions and everything in a single message with the answers. Just so that's written down.
Yes, no, yes.
Yeah. No, man. Yes. Yes. No, man. Yes.
And do I have authority to pin? I don't
It can pin.
think I do.
Pin.
Awesome. Cool. So, at the very least,
I said the snark channel is just made of pins.
yeah. I think a lot of them are relevant.
No, all of the pins are relevant. There's just a lot of them at this point. But there's
Yeah.
still a lot fewer pins than there are total messages, so they're still useful.
So, at the very least, we're going to want to figure out what we can regarding what will cause him to return to hell. The very least, with another commune, we could attempt to figure out if it's something about a deal made or a spell cast. A deal made wouldn't necessarily mean that it isn't also because of a spell cast if part of the deal involved being willing to have a spell cast upon him. From that point, we could start trying to narrow down what actions are around causing him to return to hell, since that is necessarily vague for that first question. Whether it's a compulsion that he should attempt to return there on his own, whether it's something that, after a certain amount of time, would teleport him. He wouldn't be able to be any kind of glyph of warding because of it wouldn't. He would have to. He couldn't move if that was the case. But there are certainly other kinds of things that could happen. Oh, you know what would be fun? You cast gas on somebody and give them a spell scroll, and the gas is that if they leave this plane, they cast the spell scroll. That'd be fun. Anywho. Be mean.
Look, it's Roen. What's he doing? Stop him!
So I typed up my next suggestions based on what I have.
Why under a minute? Out of curiosity.
Because if it is a spell, not a deal, and not under a minute, then if we get him here, we can bombard him with remove curse and dispel magics until he's no longer under the effects of a spell. But if it's very quickly that he ends up returning, then how much time we have could be an issue.
I think that it's worth increasing the time slightly. I think we should make it 11 minutes in case there's a ritual.
Alright. Leah, do you still know remove curse?
Yes.
Cool. Might end up needing that.
The safest things to prepare would be able to be casting remove curses, dispel magics, and greater restorations. I think that those would generally cover the vast majority of situations.
Wait, Leah's
The
here.
only wish being more.
Leah.
What was that?
Leah, can you hear me? You just hear the slightly muffled voice, Raiken. Leah, you hear nothing. We must work with family members. Leah!
It doesn't work, brothers. Shut up.
You're here, Raiken! Come get me!
No, I'm leaving you there.
But it's lonely.
Well, you can be lonely with yourself.
I was already doing that. I'm bored of that. Raiken, bring me down, wherever you are. Bring me there. I want to know what's going on.
No, you don't need to know. You don't need to know anything.
For the rest of you, he's just talking to the air angrily.
Raiken, buddy, we need to talk.
Finally lost
No,
your mind.
I'm talking to my brother again, remember?
It is concerning to me that even in storage, he is able to speak to you.
Well, he is
Especially
muffled,
after
so...
we have been... How many things are you attuned to?
3.
Are you still sure you're attuned to all 3?
Yes.
Are you sure you're sure?
Are you going to ask the DM if Raiken is sure?
Don't let them separate us, brother.
The DM has not messed with my sheet, so therefore I am attuned to the items that I have been using.
DM, is his character sheet regarding attunement accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
He is not lying.
That would be fucking hilarious.
It
to
would
just
be.
just sneak onto somebody's character sheet to switch an attunement to a cursed item.
Oh, I
Sure.
thought about it.
But I mean, I could also have given him a cursed item that adds an attunement slot.
It's true. It's a powerful cursed item.
Yeah.
Tristan would do something like that.
I would definitely do something like that and not tell you about it.
He is a tricky son of a bitch.
I will say that does mean that, like, an identify on the thing should probably tell me that it grants an attunement slot.
If it's part of the curse, it wouldn't. Identify is specifically unable to learn anything about a curse. Any of the mechanics of the curse, or the fact that the curse is there. Curses are special that way.
Yeah.
At least, that's what I remember. Correct me
Yeah,
if
no,
I'm
curses
wrong.
are special. So I'm thinking because adding an attunement slot is beneficial, it probably wouldn't be part of a curse, but then it's...
But if there was an umbrella that
Yeah,
said
yeah.
they're not aware that they're attuned to it,
Yeah.
it's just a special little attunement slot just for it, that they don't know about. But if it were truly a cursed item like any of the other ones I've designed, wouldn't it be constantly zipping back to him every time you took it away from him?
I mean, if it was like the other ones you had designed.
Big if, but you know me.
This one's just talking to him. Leah, do you currently have Remove Curse prepared?
Yes, I don't prepare
Right.
spells.
A lot of snark in this room.
You know, it's just like for the 100th time, I don't prepare spells, idiot.
I thought your memory was good, Lorna.
I am distracted. Laramendus takes out a piece of paper and writes on it, Raiken, when your brother is talking to you, I want you to begin holding up a finger, and I like hold up a finger, like after I give it to him and like he's reading it, so that we know while he is doing it. And then Leah will cast Remove Curse on you while you are holding your finger up, and you will tell us if it interrupts his conversation. And then I, hand the letter to Leah as well.
They read this letter. Raiken, do you read it silently?
I mean, that's why I'm wondering. I'm like, does Raiken pick up on the fact that?
So I think if you start saying it as you go to read it, Laramendus says, "Stop."
Does Raiken move his lips
Read
when
it.
he's reading? Is he that kind of person?
Yes, he is.
I think that Laramendus would tell you to stop when he sees your lips moving and say, "Just read."
And Raiken's gonna be like, I can't do that. I have to do this while I read.
Like, you'd just be like, I am reading, and then his lips would start moving again.
Sure. Sorry, Laramentis, my hands are tied on this.
Oh, we're learning so much about Raiken right now. I love it.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a lip mover when he's reading stuff.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Right?
No,
I do it
nothing wrong with
sometimes.
I only speak out loud when reading if I want the other person to know, yes, I'm actually reading it.
Yeah.
Well, you don't speak out loud, you just move your lips. There's no actual speaking involved.
I generally don't move my lips. But that's just me. Everybody's different. You're totally normal, I'm sure. Probably.
You're as normal as Raiken.
That does not bode well.
Look, have you ever said the day is mine?
In referencing Raiken.
Okay, you might be getting a little close to having a problem. Anyway, so, he reads the note. He tries valiantly not to move his lips while reading the note. I'm sure Laramentis is just face-palming.
Laramentis is just like, his mouth is just a straight line. He's just visibly annoyed.
You read the note, you pass it to Leah. Both of you now have the message that you're gonna wait until Tatsuya starts talking to you again, hold up a finger. When, while he's talking, she'll cast the spell on you, and then if he stops talking, you put the finger down.
I'd like to think that finally, after several tries, Raiken doesn't open his lips when he's reading, but you can see his mouth moving behind his lips.
His mouth is open and his tongue is moving.
Just you can see his jaw is working even though he keeps his lips shut.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Alright, so everybody's on board with that. Leah, you prepare your spell so that you can fire it off at an instant.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't take long because Raiken Tatsuya seems entirely bored and doesn't like being separated from you, and so he very quickly starts demanding that you come find him and reunite and stop letting the party keep you apart.
He starts talking about all of the bacon that's around him.
There's so much bacon in here, brother. You really have to get in here and see this. It's the bacon storage area. I think we've
really
hit the mother load.
Because when he was alive, he wanted to be away from Raiken as much as possible because Raiken would always bug him. But now he really wants to be with him.
Yeah.
But in that instance, Raiken will then hold up his finger.
Oh, I was hoping that the bacon might convince you not to put your finger up.
No, Raiken read the letter enough times, trying to get it right for Laramentis, that he was able to concentrate enough.
Aw, he cares about you, Lair, and your opinion of him.
I think when the finger goes up, there's a bit like there's a happy smile that's like the beginning is like he's trying to keep a straight face in case it is that we're able to be perceived, but Raiken can probably see that Laramentis' expression changes.
So when the finger goes up, Leah, you cast your spell.
Yeah.
Alright, you cast Remove Curse. A shimmering light surrounds Raiken and lifts up toward the ceiling as though, lifting away any burdens or dark magic that might be upon him. You don't see any, black cloud or anything like that lifting away, though you haven't really seen one before, but it seems like it wouldn't be unfitting for the moment. But for Raiken's part, The moment the light springs up around you and begins to flicker, Tatsuya's voice cuts off instantly.
Tremendous.
Yes.
Tatsuya's voice just suddenly stopped. Mid-sentence.
The item is cursed. You will not attune it again. At least barring a discussion amongst all of us.
Fine.
I think when he says the item is cursed, he like looks down at the ground. Like, I know we're in the demi-plane, and so, like, hell isn't, and, like, even in like, reality, hell isn't down because it's another plane of existence. But, like, so I guess Laramentis looks in whatever direction people associate with hell. I don't actually know if it's down.
It is down. It's considered one of the lower planes, so people do tend to look down, even though technically that's not accurate. It's a different plane of existence.
Okay, so then Laramentis will look down as he says it.
Wait, does that mean all the bacon that he was talking about isn't true?
The bacon is there.
Bacon repository.
I think there is a pause though, as like Laramentis is like, what bacon? Why? But like he knows that he was put into the storage room, and that's where the food would be, and so there would be bacon. Find the baconry.
Let's find the baconry.
If you would like bacon, you may request it from any of the servants.
Crap, I feel like I remember I made the name of a servant. I can't remember what it is anymore now.
It's not Franthony.
No, it's not for Anthony.
It's not for Alyssa.
I'm not going to remember it, so I'm not even going to try.
Jeeves.
Jeeves.
A servant, somewhat, portly and balding pate, appears next to you, one arm folded in front of him with a white cloth over it, the other out with a blank tray on it. Yes, sir.
I request some of the bacon from the bakery.
The tray that he's holding out in his left hand suddenly becomes piled with probably 22 strips of bacon.
Thank you, Jeebus. He will start partaking in the bacon. Suck it, brother. Now I have the bacon.
You partake of the bacon. Jeebus hasn't been dismissed, so he's just standing there holding out the plate as you take bacon off of it one strip at a time.
Yes, that's what I was hoping.
His expression is unreadable.
Hey, you gotta have him stand there, you can just have him feed it to you.
Oh my god, Cyrus, I didn't even think about that.
It was a joke.
You're going to see him take the plate in two hands and then lift it so that it is over your head. Say, the master should open his mouth. And he's going to start pouring it in. You'd notice eventually that the bacon coming off of it and into your mouth appears endless.
This is the best thing ever!
This is unsettling.
If
you're going to continue doing this, I request that you do it in the privacy of a different room. However, there are important things that we must discuss, so perhaps you can take a break from your endeavors.
Raiken will, as he's eating, like, alright, Jeebus, you can start now.
He's going to flatten the plate out and return to his, butler posture.
Thank you. We will do that again another time, Jeebus. You are dismissed.
There's still exactly 22 pieces of bacon on it.
No, absolutely. And as Raiken says you're dismissed, he's just going to slowly fade out of existence.
Raiken's going to reach for the plate, pick him before in the hopes that he gets it before he.
The plate like zips back into reality long enough for you to grab a few pieces, and then it disappears.
All right, I'll have to savor these. All right, we can continue.
Right then. So, Cyrus had suggestions for further questions to ask to get some clarity on Rowan's condition. Voice in the sky.
Yes.
Need to return versus be caused to return, same thing?
Not really.
I would
I
say
mean,
no, because like
they could both be external causes, but one includes just a choice of the self, whereas the other one is entirely external.
like he's getting hurt from not being there. I feel like my phrasing includes that, whereas the other one might not.
I mean, or even if he's under a suggestion, as you've suggested. If he's been gassed, then he is being caused to return, but his need is his own.
Yeah, so because to being more broad,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that we should go with the more broad ones. Again, to start broad and then narrow it down. So if we know he would be caused to return because of a spell, then we can narrow it down to, is it a spell upon him or a spell that somebody else would be casting separately? Because we would need to deal with those in different ways.
Alright.
Somebody just gates him back. Just fucking ping pongs between a demi-plane and hell.
Has some sort of contingency on him for a plane shift or something.
Through the open gate, you just catch a glimpse of the devil flipping you off.
I don't think contingency could do a plane shift because contingency is 5th level or lower.
I don't know it very well. I just saw it teleport someone away
it
once.
always frustrates me.
Can't be upcast like a Glyph of Warding?
No, it can't, which is bullshit.
Yeah, that's really weird.
That's why I actually had to leave a glyph of warning at Cyrus's mom's house.
She's just
So,
she's just in Everwatch one day.
Wouldn't
no,
even
it
be
was
Overwatch
to,
me, though.
it was Lycoselphus.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not nearly as far.
It's not nearly as funny. He just teleports there and they're just like, I should be in, the insert name of town. They're like, do you have a passport? And she's like, what? Your papers to allow you to be here? I just teleported here. So he came to the Mage's Guild. No. You're gonna need to come with us, ma'am.
Your mother's been arrested, Cyrus.
You know, we actually haven't run into travel paper issues yet. That'd be a new one.
There's a reason for that. The reason being they mostly don't use them.
Yeah, no, it would be odd in this kind of setting.
I think if anyone did, it would be
Too easy to
Gromdor.
forge and do anything. Like,
Thieves
right,
Guild.
I am who I say I am. Whosoever carries this writ know that they work under my authority.
Yeah, the party's never had one of those.
But so, I don't think Larmundus knew about it. The party had one of those back then, because that was before his time. But my suggestion for these three would be that would Rowan be caused to return instead of need to return. But other than that change, those seem reasonable to me.
Alrighty.
Alright, what change exactly? Just want to make sure I get it in the writing.
So would Roen be caused to return instead of would Roen need to return? Just to umbrella, like, his will or the will of somebody else. And I suppose technically, like, after being retrieved by the gate spell for each of those, just so it's clear what exactly, like, what situation we're talking about. Does anyone else have any thoughts, desires, intentions, beliefs, weakly held opinions about the proposed next 3 questions? If nobody has anything against these questions, I can attempt to cast Commune again to see if it'll work. It's like 25% chance every time you cast it.
Yep.
It succeeds.
Okay. So after being recovered by the gate spell, would Roen be caused to return because of a spell?
Yes.
Okay. After being recovered by the gate spell, would Roen be caused to return because of a deal?
Yes.
And after being recovered by the gate spell, would Roen be caused to return in under 11 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that would be rough. Yeah.
Well, I think it's reasonable to say that we have a yes to number 2 because the spell was a condition of the deal.
That's possible, but not guaranteed.
It's true. There could be multiple means of retrieving him.
What? You think there are layers to the... Why would hell take security procedures seriously?
Why would hell, notoriously made of layers,
grow onions?
So, one thing that would be possible is to cast the gate spell while inside of a 9th level globe of invulnerability, which would prevent any 8th level or lower spell from being cast into the area, even if it's upcast. It's very fun. I love that spell.
Mm-hmm.
You happen to know if your Simulacrum still has its 9th level spell slot?
It does.
Then it could do one of the 2.
I think that it would... I should have written down what my spell list was when you created it.
Well, it definitely had Gate.
Was it that same... It wasn't that same day.
It was after we fought Tatsuya that I made that one.
But it was the
for
next day.
Did you unprepare gate once you were done with it?
I might have.
Reasonable.
Well, then I can use my spell slot to make another Q, which gives you another spell slot.
Oh, but it very likely had Globe of Invulnerability. Because
I already knew
pretty
that.
much since getting it, I've had prepared. It was I think my first 6th level spell that I took, just because I was like, it's an abjuration spell, and I should take those occasionally. As an abjuration wizard.
Funnily
Be
enough,
capable of doing it.
Your Simulacrum's Arcane Ward is going to be so beefy.
So that it might not be able to cast Gate. Possibly. I don't know. But I am like 95% sure that it could cast Global Invulnerability.
I think that's reasonable. Now you just have to go get it.
Well, there are other because that prevents 8th level or lower spells from being cast in it. It lasts a minute, though. So basically, it is a thing that needs to. We would need to have a very quick plan in place for dealing with things.
Because you couldn't dispel him while he's in it.
And how long does it take to cast?
If you are within a globe of invulnerability, your spell casting is unhampered.
Oh, okay.
It's outside to in that it doesn't work. So there were, because I had used it during the fight with that Umbralite, and
Right.
I think people came in and cast Darkness.
But that means that it wouldn't stop him from casting a spell to return himself there, were he to be in possession of one.
Right.
And it wouldn't stop Gate, which is 9th level. But it would stop anything less than that. So
Yeah. So it's a way of like stopping like a lot of like plane shifting and a lot of teleportation magic, just as a like layer of precaution.
Also, if he's under some sort of compulsion and tries to do something and it doesn't work, then you might need to try and keep him in the globe. Because there's nothing stopping him leaving except you.
So we could put up the globe, put up a wall of stone around the globe if we need to keep him in there. I could deal with the spell magic. Clone Lair does the globe. You do the gate. Jebel does greater restoration. Leah does remove curse. And if he's tries to cast anything, everyone capable of counterspelling does. And if he's still trying to leave, we leave him in the box and try to come up with a new plan.
I think we should know what that second plan is before we go to do anything. That's
Well, at least as far as Plan A goes, that sounds like we cover all the bases.
If we wanted to hamper his ability to teleport, we could have him within a force cage.
I didn't think he was a spellcaster. Would a stone box not stop him?
I mean, if he has a scroll capable of pulling him away, and he is compelled to use it.
Well, that was the purpose of other you, and anyone else in the box that's capable of counterspell saying no.
How many counterspellers do we have?
At least 3. You, and me. And you're particularly proficient at it, and I'd have a 9th level spell slot that I could use for either counterspell or dispel, whichever we want me to throw it at.
I have it in my staff.
Steve.
I think that it would be better for it to go to a dispel magic.
Counter staff.
Alright, so then I have an 8th level counterspell. 2 Abjuration Wizards counterspelling, and a counterspell staff.
And that's Larmendis' counterspell. So
Have I recast that?
It's in
I
there.
never used
You did recharge it, but I believe it's 3rd level.
Well, but is it with my plus 11 or is it with my plus 10?
11.
it's plus 10.
Oh, it's still plus 10?
Okay, I should fix that.
Regardless, if we want to have all our resources to throw at this is going to have to be a tomorrow attempt.
Yes.
And then do we do it inside of a demiplane? Or...
Yes, it should happen in a demiplane. I'm still concerned about non-spell methods of retrieving him. We get one shot at this.
Yeah.
Because if they pull him back, then our odds of succeeding again when they're annoyed at us are much lower. Out of character. Laura Mendes just thought that, what would be the easiest way to deal with a devil? Is to make a deal with a bigger devil. We've met a bigger devil.
Running with the devil.
That sounds like an
Laura
awful
Mendes is
idea.
not going to suggest that.
Okay, making sure, since you gave us the whole lecture on no deals with the Fae, I don't want to have to turn around and be you for a minute.
The Fae are unpredictable, and that's the problem with deals with the Fae. But Laura Mendes does not voice that thought, and I think they're like at worst there's just like a hiccup in his, or like there's like a longer pause between two words he's saying in his like talking about us having one chance.
That's the day.
Well, they could certainly send other things, and now that the Abishai are free, those could certainly be candidates.
Good. I can beat the crap out of them.
It would be difficult for Abishai to be the ones that are able to return him under 11 minutes.
You've seen how quickly our fights go, and we've seen they can plane shift.
Plane shifting into a demiplane. I guess we did not specify in the questions that he would be retrieved via gate onto a demiplane. That might change things. Damn.
I mean, remember that the only thing required for gate to function is that they be on a different plane. You don't have to know what that plane is.
Right. If the thing that would cause him to go back is gate.
Yes.
In which case, our only option for retrieval would be to go through the gate that opens, which does not sound like an ideal option.
It's also very difficult to do that because you need. I guess we would need to be preparing actions to do it, because you stop concentrating on gate and it drops, and you can stop concentration as an action. Like it's not an action. It's just a thought that can happen at any time. So it immediately pulls somebody through, and then you drop it. So unless somebody is prepared for it to happen, like getting through a gate can be really difficult.
Can we hold on to Roen, and then when he goes flying, we go flying?
No. I don't think. I guess before I am that certain, I can check the spell.
Does Private Sanctum stops teleportation? Well, no, because then we'd have to like drag him physically into it before someone casts gate. So it also stopped our gate going out.
Yep. Could get it with some really impressive timing, I suppose.
By the way,
Yeah, but that would require 3 Layer Mendices.
Yuki Kaze went
Well,
into
no,
AFK.
So you can open the gate facing wherever. So if you were to open the gate outside of a private sanctum,
like above it, so he like falls into it.
Okay, above it is probably even better. I was thinking just like in front of it, so that the 5-foot square that he would get pulled into is within the space. But yeah, no, above it, so he falls down is even better, because then he can't like fall backward if he can go quickly, kind of thing.
That would perhaps prevent gate, because I think it just says teleportation.
Yeah.
So that would buy us a window to at least ask him questions, if he's cooperative.
I don't know that he would be cooperative with us.
I mean, he might be if it's at least to the extent of not going back to hell. The logistics of a trans-dimensional rescue op.
I think it's where the logistics of a trans-dimensional rescue op, where the people planning the heist are like, how can we do this with no negative repercussions?
Or at least minimal. So, alright, I'm gonna start typing down the current plan. Can you physically pass through the globe of invulnerability?
Yes.
Or whatever it was?
Yes.
Alright. So then...
If we wanted to physically prevent him from moving while also doing things to interrupt any teleportation that he might have, it would be he would need to be within a force cage.
Well, wasn't that the point of Private Sanctum, to stop all teleportation?
Yeah, we can also do that. Because we can stop teleportation and planar travel, since those are different.
What do you enact?
I think Derek's still writing out what we have so we can continue going over things.
If you're ready for other things, this will take me a minute to write out, because it's a bit of a plan.
Plan time. Is everybody else okay with this? They're really talking about jailbreaking hell.
Sounds like something that Raiken will be just fine doing. Right up Raiken's alley.
Okay, I asked because you had mentioned earlier that Raiken was ambivalent about doing this, since he seemed to think that dealing with the dragons first would be the better way to go about it. So I don't know.
but then you mentioned jailbreak.
No one said anything about jailbreak. The voice in the sky said jailbreak.
Yeah,
none of us said anything about breaking jail.
Raiken heard voice in the sky, and he knows it's not Tatsuya because it sounds different.
It's the voice in the sky, not the voice in the bacon room. It's just...
Good. Good.
Actually, if anything, the Abishai got mentioned, and Raiken's like, oh, I could possibly kick their asses now. He's got a score to settle with them.
Weak.
I think to Yuki Kaze, Clarimendos will say this: the amount of planning that we're going to need to do is going to distract us for a decent amount of time, and unfortunately, I think he's probably AFK.
Possible.
But the amount of planning that we're going to need to do is going to distract us for a decent amount of time, or at least distract a decent subset of us, even if we send some people to go and do things with the army, and some people to plan, and then to go over the plan and try and come up with any issues or other contingencies that we might want afterwards. It will also use a decent amount of resources to enact. At the very least, the amount of magic that we're talking about is going to severely hamper myself, Cyrus, certainly impact Jebel, and also possibly drain the greatest resources that our simulacra currently have. and our time with the army is precious.
So you want him to continue leading the army and getting them into shape while you, the magic users, do this, and he has less to contribute here.
Well, I'm asking him more as, like, we are now proposing using what is essentially an extremely high amount of the army's resources to do this plan. Because we are, at this point, resources of the army.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of want the buy-in of the army from him. Because if he, like, we don't have a lot of time to do the, like, magical movements and everything that we need to do and plan for with the army.
Yeah.
So using all of this time and I want to make sure, one, that we have the time to finish going through Tatsuya's correspondence, that we need to do scrying and things to figure out where we want to land. We need to sit down and do more figuring out about how we can, like, what we need to do, what the army needs from us to get there, and all of that kind of stuff. So this is all distracting from army-related logistics that we could instead be throwing our mental resources out and throwing our spell resources out.
Alright. Double check this thing.
Seeing if I can get you an answer.
No, sorry. One last thing I can Google, just spelling-wise mostly.
Sorry, what was that key point again?
So, while we are, like, just taking a sidebar from this, like, hour that we've spent talking about the plan and resources to potentially retrieve Roen from hell, Laramentis wants Yukikaze's opinion on the expenditure of time and magical resources to do this, since all the time that we're spending planning is time that we're not doing essentially the same thing, but for what the army needs from us, and then the time to do the plan and the magical resources required to do the plan.
There's also the key point of time. The army does need time. Because one of our biggest things is having everyone trained up and be up and ready for the fight to begin with. Now, if we can capitalize on the time of us going and taking care of this and keeping everyone training and having them higher, further along than we expect them to be, and still be back at a reasonable time, or reasonable amount of time.
So, but the army is better off with our devoted effort, and this is taking devoted effort away from the army to do a different thing. So the training would be worse. The amount of time that they'd have to train would probably be very similar, just because we can probably, assuming we can do things like in a day for Roen, magically we're probably not like that hurt by doing it, but it's more the time that we're going to take to plan this, plus the time we're going to take to execute it, and the time that we're going to need to take to deal with the fallout of it. Because let's assume, like, we manage to get it so that Roen doesn't go away within 11 minutes. We still need to figure out what we're doing with him long term.
It's a good point. And I don't think it's just a me decision also. But...
Alright.
It's certainly a thing that it's not just your decision, but you have the weight of the army behind you, and we are using the army's resources right now.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt very quickly because I want to make sure that we're kind of on the same page here. So, Yuki, well, you understand that he's saying that this is the army's time and resources that he's proposing to spend, and he wants to make sure that you think that this is a worthy thing to spend it on, to take time to take these magical resources away from the army's training, in order to do this.
As well as just the army's logistics, because I think, like, Laramentis focused on sitting down with, like, coffers to go through logistics is a valuable resource for the army, just because of his intelligence bonus. And so Laramentis' time doing that is not time spent doing that. Cyrus's time doing this is not time doing that. Any of us could be doing things even outside of training that would benefit the army.
So I want to make sure that everybody knows that's what's at stake here.
And I don't think that everyone is in positions to contribute to that, like, decision of, is this a proper use of the limited resources that we have right now? Which, it could be like, a day in hell sucks. So, like, even one fewer day in hell is, valuable.
Is everyone wanting to go? Like, have we even decided that everyone's...
So we've gotten to a certain point in planning what we can do, and then when we got to, here's what we think we need to do right now, like, as a first thing, Laramentis stopped and was like, before we spend more time doing this, is this what we want to do with our time? Because Laramentis was, like, starting to get lost in the planning and realize that we should step back and decide that that's what we want to do. The plan that we've come up with, just as a, like, quick thing, Derek had typed out in the channel. Basically, it's designed to try and prevent magic from being spells from being the source of him returning to hell before we have a chance to do something. So we would still need to figure out, okay, what if it isn't only magic? Like, what if there are other things that we need to try and mitigate? And are the spells that we're planning for the magic side of things good enough to mitigate? And then, possibly more importantly, what do we do in the situation that we succeeded? And also, we should have discussions about what we do in the situation where we fail and piss off a powerful devil. Because, like, I don't want to fail, but, like, it is possible. and then we've spent a lot of a devil's resources. Which, maybe they're fine with that because they got to watch all of their traps trigger. And, like, that was, worth the investiture of resources, because it was funny to watch somebody else who planned so much fail. Like, maybe we're just like, we give them the lulls and then everything's fine and dandy, but maybe they're like, but also fuck you.
Well, I mean, to put it in perspective, this is likely the pinnacle of moral magics ever to have attempted something along these lines. As there are 4 ninth level spells, I think 3 or 4 ninth level spell slots involved in this attempt.
Yeah, but
this is so much fucking magic.
Bringing them here.
So we're intending to bring him into a demi-plane.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember the discussion about talking about using gate and whatnot.
Right. So the
question would be... asked the gate. Then we have the ability to pull them, but I lost part of what we were doing. That we were going to pull them into the pocket dimension versus actually bringing them to the actual realm or physical plane.
So the thinking for that is that it's like half a step harder for them to, like, interfere with a demi-plane than it is for them to interfere with the mortal plane, or the material plane, rather. So, like, some of the magics that they would try and do might not function as easily, because their ability to get to us is possibly slightly hampered if they're not getting to us on the material plane. Also, it's safer for the army in case things happen if we're not on the island.
Well, it could be like training time, guys. Let's fight a greater devil.
That seems
that's
like
how
a
you
good
lose
way
an army.
to lose. Yeah, a lot of people.
I know it was a joke.
Yeah, but like,
It's a joke.
on the flip side, hey, we're the new people in charge. We're gonna summon the devil. Have fun. It's like, yeah, that's would go for well with troops.
Look, we might not summon the devil. We might just piss off a devil who then might show up. That's not summoning. That's like
So whoever's standing over there doesn't know magic, you tell them that.
Just for confirmation, Tristan, someone who casts demiplane does not count as a planar ruler of that demiplane, correct?
I think when they wrote that, they were specifically talking about the major planes.
Yeah, no, that's what I figured.
Like,
it's
interesting, like, you can, because you can shape your demiplane, you can choose what's in it, what's on it, what it looks like, but you've never been able to expel people from it at a distance. You can lock it down so that it's as hard to get into as possible, but just the fact that somebody gets there, you can't be like, nah, get out of here. Like, yeah. So you're not a ruler, because a planar ruler could just be like, and you're out of my sight.
Yeah.
He's not a ruler, he's a manager.
So I think that's the difference, because if you go to Nessus, Asmodeus can just be like, I don't want to deal with you, and send you elsewhere without even trying.
Yeah, I agree. I just wanted to make sure that it was stated, because if it didn't work like that, then it would solve a lot of our problems.
Yeah.
But like it was a long shot that I needed to say.
It's more like, think of it like this. Those demiplanes aren't really being created when you're casting.
Well, that's sometimes unclear.
I know, but I think that it's just that mages, in general, have learned to fuck with magic enough that they can tear their way forcibly into these demiplanes, and then they can shape those demiplanes, but they didn't make them. So you're not the ruler, you're just the guy that found it.
We're the guy who made the door.
You're just a colonizer.
Feel bad for the person that owns the plane. They're like, the fuck is all this random shit over here?
I mean, for a lot of them,
in the astral sea just walks into a room and is like, what the fuck?
I didn't put all this stuff here. I guess it's mine now.
Who touched my room?
But I mean, like, that space, those interdimensional pockets, they're there, you know, they're but nobody's using them at the time, is really what's going on. And you're just finding a way to drill into it and go, oh, this spot is nice, I can use this. And then you have a spell that lets you go back there as long as you perfectly describe it every time. But, you know, they all belong to, like, AO, and AO's as hands-off as they come, so as long as you don't find a way to piss AO off, which is easier for some people than others.
It is akin to lifting a mountain above your head. Extremely difficult, but ultimately deadly.
Yeah.
Forever one of my favorite descriptions in anything.
Yeah.
It's in the Wheel of Time for angering one of the Ogier.
Yeah. It's apt. It's apt. So that's the situation here. Is you want to spend a bunch of time and a ton of resources, at least daily resources, and potentially have some hell-related problems instead of training the army.
Yeah, because like even if we succeed, we have likely pissed somebody in hell off. If we fail, we have also likely pissed somebody in hell off.
Yeah.
This is the cost of the attempt, not success or failure.
there's different levels of pissed off depending on how the failure and successes go, and depending
Regardless,
on who
there's
somebody's
going to be a
personality.
fiendish
but-
hit squad at some point in our future.
Hit squad is such a strong term.
Accurate, but I'm on the hit squad. You are the hit squad.
I'm hit. This is squad. You don't need to know our real names.
One devil wields 2 weapons. One's hit, one's squad. Doesn't even have to have 2 people.
Alright, so I just need to know what's happening right now. Because while it's a lot of fun hearing you play this along, I think there are some people who would like a chance to contribute more, and so I'd like to have something happen.
Well, I never, even though that I'm taking part of the army, I don't. Our decision on our course of action is not a fully me thing. So,
What do you mean?
Right, but I think you have a decent say in how we spend the army's resources.
Yeah, it's
you,
pretty
you
fully
should
used.
have a. You should come down one way or the other. I think everyone should contribute, but I think that your opinion is also extremely valuable as the leader of the army. For them to see their, leader people who just occasionally show up and then fuck off for large amounts of time and might have might come back with problems seems bad for morale, honestly.
What? Is Torgir putting those ideas in your head?
I'm out of character. I have a lot of fun with the whole planning thing. I could sit here for hours and do this.
I think we kind of have.
I could sit here for more hours and do this because there's a lot more that we need to discuss, which is the problem. It's if we're do we want to sit down and do that?
well, there's also the thought process of we don't even know how Roen will take it of us going to get him anyways to begin with, and if he'd be an asset to the fight, and whether we should even do this now at all anyways.
Yeah. There's certainly the question of, is this the thing that we want to do now, or is this the thing that we want to do after we have dealt with the dragons? Just a little post-campaign jaunt into hell.
I want to say probably, well, no, I'm going to say right. So I'm going to say as Yukikaze that maybe if it is something you guys definitely want to do the most, that I guess I could stay behind and capitalize on training the army and getting everything going and keep it moving. And if you guys do go, but also have the opinion of, I think it is something we shouldn't do right now. But if the group decision is to go, I think I might end up staying behind.
Well, by go, we are not intending to go to hell. If we do, we have miscalculated.
That's what
I sure hope not. I have enemies there.
Which is another good thing to think about when we're talking about what we're doing here. You know what would be terrible?
I can think of how that sentence ends.
I think I'm more on the opinion of we do this after. It'll be the fuck, we dealt with a dragon, dealing with a devil, easy.
How does everyone else feel?
I also am of the opinion that we could probably hold off since we held off this long already.
Yeah. We've already screwed him again.
What's one more month in hell? That was out of character.
Leave him to suffer.
I mean,
No, I want that to be in character.
That's not a thing that Laramentis would say.
here's the thing. This currently takes about half of us, which means the other half could still be trained in the army. But alternatively, if certain things don't go in our favor in the fight to come, there could easily not be enough of us left to do this later.
No, I'll be done in a half hour.
Oh, okay, don't forget. Like you did last time. Break from all that anyway. Or rest.
What are you talking about? I'll bring everyone back.
Not if you're dead.
This plan could go poorly enough that there are fewer of us to help deal with the dragons.
And all of us are not there working together because it goes poorly, though. That would mean, yeah, you have possibility of losing some of you.
Even if you're saying that we should come up with whatever minimum set of people we need to do this, that minimum set is including our spellcasters, all of them.
Oh, but everyone but Raiken, yeah.
I think Laramentis just sort of like pauses for a second, looks at Raiken, and then nods.
Did they just say you don't count, brother?
Oh, Raiken's going to put his finger up again.
No, put that down. They think it worked.
Shut up, brother.
You're going to blow the game!
Interesting.
Has it been another hour?
He's not touching the artifact, so it shouldn't have been able to attune to him from the storage room.
Well, if you have the materials for it, a legend lore on that thing at some point might be prudent.
Maybe.
I think Laramentis gets really excited at that. I've had the materials for legend lore since I got 4th level spells. Like I have like legitimate like resources to spend on it, not residuum.
That's just like Jebel waiting for a Revivify, but even longer.
Maybe the
Yeah.
curse is attached to something else now.
I mean, if remove curse didn't affect this,
Well, then it's permanent, pretty much.
there is probably something that we could do.
But yeah, I am sorry for what we've done to Roen, but and how we haven't been there for him. But I'm in the opinion that we need to take care of the current problem at hand first. But so that's my stance.
We've had input from Yukikaze, from Raiken, Cyrus. It sounds like Cyrus is voicing his opinion that we should do the Roen thing. Like, we should spend the resources for the Roen thing now. Right?
More or less. Like, it's my point that we keep saying that there will be a later, and the odds are not in our favor that there will be enough of us left for later to occur.
Just tell them you'll do it.
My concern with that point about there not being enough of us for later is there not being enough of it. If something goes wrong and we lose, most of our magical capability, that will make things difficult for the army. And the goal of dealing with the dragons, which is plane impacting as opposed to impacting a single soul.
Yeah, we do need you guys to transport the army to Avangard.
They think you're weak.
So here's the other question then.
Shut up, brother.
Or here's a question.
You should know you're not.
It's like you said, do we think he will be able to contribute to the fight at hand?
Larry just looks at Raiken as, I think that we should continue this conversation in the room.
Raiken's gonna be like, put up his fingers in quotes, the room.
Yeah, it's the one with the pirate sanctum.
Are you talking
That's
about the
more well
baconry?
protected than this place. Also, we should probably fill in Bruenor at some point. It's been a fair bit more than those 11 minutes.
Are you saying I'm a liability there, but this?
I am saying I am not comfortable enough with the connection that you have with this artifact at the moment. Until we have a chance to study it more.
Should we give everyone a bit of time to mull this over and take care of Raiken then?
Try disagreeing with him.
I don't think we need to take care. We have the conversation that we're having and everything, just not where Tatsuya is listening in.
If he fights you on it, you'll know he knows you're weak.
Well,
What? That doesn't even make
This-
sense, brother.
this could be just a curse. Or just a thing that's toying with him.
It's possible. I will be curious if he's still able to be communicated with through a magnificent mansion and a private sanctum.
Well then, to the room we go.
You disappoint me, brother.
No, shut up. You're a freaking locket right now.
But I can be so much more. A group.
Yeah, Soren said that to me once. Said we could dispense justice so much more efficiently if we flew.
Was he wrong?
If we started, if the wagon that we were in started flying, we probably could have died.
Do you really think you would have?
I mean, I wouldn't have. but,
Exactly, so would you have been more efficient?
well, I'll get to find that out, dude.
I should really just put one in here. Marker. Boop. Fetch.
Oh yeah, because you can fetch us to markers.
Yes. Boop. I have to do this all over again. Boop. 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 Shovel. Fender. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's everybody. Bruenor's not in the room.
Okay. That was part of what I wanted to just check.
Yes. He is not in the room when you come out.
Larmendis voicing his thoughts that if anything goes sideways, we could lose enough people that dealing with the dragons is less possible, and the dragons are a plain ending, or at least a civilization impacting event versus a single soul.
It might not be as effective, but we could, after a day or two, have duplicates try and perform the extraction instead of us, So any immediate risk is simply to them.
My concern with having simulacra do things is that I think that if we fail once, it becomes much more difficult to try again, as there'll be more. It is possible that they will be more cautious about how to handle his situation.
Well, we would still have a plan that we would be enacting, so I don't see how Simulacrum changes our chances of success on that front. Just lets us still train people and not risk ourselves, which seem to be your primary concern.
So, but if the simulacra fail, we're in the same position as us failing, less us dying. So it is an improvement, but pissing off a fiend is still there. And so I suppose if they think that they have completely won, then they might not come after us. But if they learn that it was Simulacra doing this, then they.
The gall of people.
If I were extremely proud,
yeah,
You
the
know,
gall of
and-
them thinking Simulacra could come and take their friend back.
the phrase "a snowball's chance in hell" comes to mind.
I mean, you also have to figure the possibility that if we did this before we fought the dragons, and we pissed off the devil enough that then they come and fuck with us while we're trying to deal with the dragon.
right, that's the risk of attempting this, which happens success, failure, us, or the simulacra. There's a chance that things should the simulacra succeed, or even fail, that the devil lets that be. But that's probably if they think that they have fully succeeded and not that they were dealing with simulacra.
I mean, there is the added benefit of if we're doing this with Simulacra and from within a private sanctum, they might not have the ability to know who did it until they find Roen again. And if enough spells are removed, they might have to do that physically with informants and the like. They at least wouldn't know, at least if my understanding of the spells are correct, they wouldn't know immediately.
It depends on the nature of. If it was just spells, then yes, I think with the private sanctum and everything else, then that's probably in the clear. But if there are other magical items, if there's a necklace that's some kind of planar beacon, but it isn't casting a spell, it isn't creating a sensor, then it would still activate within a private sanctum.
Hey, how long does Private Sanctum last?
24 hours.
Okay.
The intent is that you cast it once a day, and you do that enough in a single spot, and it's permanent.
Yep.
A reasonable question, but it's entirely possible that there isn't anything of that sort, but a simulacra is going to have a simulacrum is going to have a much more difficult time handling unexpected situations than us, by virtue of it being a construct. And there are enough things that can happen in this situation that trying to plan for every eventuality before doing anything so that a simulacra can act appropriately seems difficult. I think that we should plan as much as we can, but it's possible that things will be happening that we need to act on in the moment.
Last suggestion. It's all simulacrum except for me. So I'd likely have to manufacture them. So that there's someone there who can react to unexpected information results. With you having a spare me for combat purposes at a later point, should I, well, should things go poorly.
I mean, there shouldn't... one, I don't think that there should be a spare... I think enacting this plan should involve all simulacra possible, just to have more spellcasters.
I'd be careful with that word.
Yeah, all possible is a very, very large number.
The three that we have decided it is reasonable for us to create. Is that better?
Better for me.
Oh.
I'm just thinking with the snowball's chance and health, the fact that a simulacrum is technically made of snow.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
Yeah, yeah.
I knew what I was about.
Well, if we were to do it in 2 days, which would be the shortest amount of time, it would involve me ended up making an extra duplicate or two of myself. Just as a byproduct of making the other ones in the same day.
What other ones do... We have 2 from you. What?
Well, yeah, but I was like on the suggestion of having Simulacrum do the like just all the casting in our place.
Oh.
So that everyone could still help train the army and not cost the army resources, as was some of the primary arguments.
I don't know that one non-simulacra is sufficient.
I can't hear Elise.
Yeah, I haven't said anything.
Oh, I see your like Lincoln.
Oh yeah,
Making
that happens
noise.
sometimes. It's because my microphone picks up noises without actually
Okay.
recording them.
I thought you were just talking. I couldn't hear you.
No, that's fine.
Devil turns to the simulacrum. Just like respond as if you agree to everything that I say. If we are going to make the attempt, I think that we get one good attempt, which means we should do everything in our power to make that attempt possible and successful. So my concern is that trying to split our resources in such a way that we have Simulacra and you go, or Simulacra and one other person go, not necessarily you. We're not giving it the best chance at success possible, which, if you fail, or if we fail with the first time, no matter what, if it's all of us, if it's just Simulacra, if it's one person in Simulacra, we're going to lose the advantage of any kind of surprise. So that a failure the first time could be completely in vain.
Well, I've given as many minimizations, workarounds, and other suggestions as I can. It's just whether or not the others find those worthwhile or not. I think the current count is 1 for and 2 against, with Cyrus being for it and Laramindis and Kaze being against.
I'm just going to read down the list of names in the voice chat. Vendar.
Yeah.
Where do you fall? So there are the three sets of attempts, 3 sets of things that we could do. Just drop this until after the dragons. Should we, enough of us be around afterwards to enact this. Drop everything else that's going on. Do this, which will take probably 2 days, at least given the magic, to do it. During that time, during a large stretch of that time, a lot of us could be doing things for the army. We don't all need to sit down and plan. We can break out into a smaller group, do some planning, come back to the group with things, and do that, a couple times, kind of thing. Or take the plan that we have started to have, refine a little more, at least for the sake of what happens after the initial retrieval and the casting of those spells, and perform that plan with a minimum number of people. So at least 3 simulacra, 2 created by Cyrus, 1 created by myself, and either just those 3, which probably can't actually, would probably have a very difficult time casting the magic that they need to in the time that they need to, or the 3 simulacra and 1 of the other spellcasters, in order to cast more of the magic that needs to be done, as well as just deal with unexpected situations. So those are the 3 things that we could do.
Well, doing the simulacrums would mean using your 9th level spell slots for that, right?
Well, we already have 2 simulacra, both of whom have 9th level spell slots.
So you would just need to make one more.
Mine doesn't, because I used my 9th level to make a copy of you and me, so the copy I made didn't have mine.
Right.
And of course, you use your wish to make the Arcane Sanctum this.
Right, so we would need to wait until tomorrow for me to be able to make one of Cyrus, But we need two Laramendasi. So I would have to use my 7th to make another one of me, because we need Laramendus to cast 2 9th level spells.
Or we could just wait one more day. Like, tomorrow you make one of me. Day after that, that copy makes as many as we want. Once you have your 9th level back.
So I think that we should limit things to the 3
2
simulacra, just 2 from you, 1 from me, just for the sake of not we throw 1,000 Laramenduses and 1,000 Cyruses.
I was just trying to
because if we buried them in snow, then all casting 9th level spells, then most problems solve themselves.
Trying not to do that. I understand this.
Yeah.
I was just trying to drive the point home is that 2 days is the longest it will take for us to have whatever it is that we decide we need and want.
Yeah.
And what makes this dangerous? Beyond just are you actually going anywhere, or is it just the danger of a devil is probably going to come after him?
That is the largest unknown, is the fact that succeeding or failing will piss off a devil, at least one devil, and possibly a very powerful one. There's also the question of what Roen will do and how we can mitigate his actions against us, since he will rightfully be upset with us.
Didn't we have someone or something figuring out what devil has Roen?
I don't think so. Poisonous guy?
Nope, you've never asked that question. You've been convinced that if you gated him, it didn't matter.
I thought we did.
We asked the Abishai when you were in there, and they're like, we got rid of him, we don't know.
That's accurate.
Wow.
They did ask the Abishai.
Yeah,
the Abishai said they didn't know. He changed hands too many times.
God, that's what it was.
Right. How much danger to us and our plans would a powerful devil with a soul's worth of residuum be?
How does the residuum factor in?
How much is this soul worth?
I don't know at the moment how much a soul is worth, but I know that we have enough to be the magical equivalent of a soul.
I'm not sure I like the implications of that.
I assume Cyrus was right. Very shortly after our dealings with Tresnor, I asked via commune if it would have been possible to restore a demi-lich to a lich with enough residuum, and if we had that much residuum. And the answer was yes, which means residuum does have a magical equivalent to a soul. Right, a soul has a magical equivalent in residuum.
So you want to make an equivalent exchange.
I'm merely positing that it is possible and would not involve a pissed off devil so much as an excitable one with a very dangerous tool.
I think that might depend on what devil has it. For all we know, Zephyr has it.
Alright, well, I at the very least can have assuming Laramendus find that out over the evening. Assuming he can borrow your ritual book.
He could certainly see if that particular devil is the one that is in possession of him, which is my biggest concern.
That would make sense. And if that is the devil, then honestly, if that is the devil, then we should just save him. That devil's already coming after us, and we definitely don't want to provide that devil with.
That's a fair point.
It
Because
is.
that would already be
I
a
suppose
pissed off devil.
It's true. We likely could not piss off that devil more. Although it's possible. I don't know. I don't know that we should find out. But that is a reasonable bit of information for us to have.
Of course, can we even do that? Because we know Zephyr isn't even the demon's real name.
I would still say the demon we know as Zephyr. We can still refer to him, even if we don't have the proper name to gate him.
We should avoid saying names even within the private sanctum. But yeah, that was the question I was just about to ask, was if it's a devil or a demon.
It's some kind of fiend. I think
although there are certainly, it would not be unreasonable. I can see a world in which the soul from the devils was sold to a demon.
Yeah, at least in normal D&D lore, there are a few intermediary fiends.
Yeah.
But that's discussion for a different day, I think.
Alright. We are 2 minutes from time. Final thoughts.
Laramendus is okay spending Simulacrum Laramendus's communes attempting to figure out if it's a demon devil and if it's the one that we're most concerned about. And then we could attempt to try and figure out more about whoever is in possession of the soul. But does not want to commit to it. It does not want to do a jailbreak until after the dragons have been dealt with.
I think at this point, from what I understand, people's points are either A, they don't want to do it until after the dragons, or if it's Zephyr, might want to do it anyways, because how much worse could it get?
I mean, there's still taking action before dealing with the dragons is still very dangerous, because if anything goes wrong, then we have severely hampered the army and our plans for the dragons. So even if it is the entity that we would prefer, or we think we would need to fight anyway, Laramendus still does not think that fight should happen before we deal with the dragons. It's just too dangerous.
And if he is in Zephyr's hand, though, it's also possible Zephyr could dispatch him against us at any moment.
I mean, that's true. Also, again, names. Don't use them.
Alright.
But yes, it is very likely that our location is generally known by his agents. And so if he was serving as one of his agents, then he could show up.
He did have a bunch of warlocks attack us on this very island.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Us from other people?
I made myself clear from the beginning I don't want anything to do with hell. I think this entire plan is bad.
You just want to leave Roen there, right?
He got himself there.
I like it.
Jebel?
How about Jibble?
Dragons are a priority.
Raiken?
I would say dragons are the priority, but also, like Larabendis, I know the point that Rowan could be dispatched against us, against the dragons, is a noteworthy thing. However, again, if we do this before the dragons and we don't come back all together, that hurts our chances against the dragons. And then if we're fighting the dragons and we pissed off the devil, and now we're actually then fighting the devil again as well as the dragons, and we're on a two-front war, that's going to greatly decrease our chances of winning.
It's true, and it's not like the devil is the only possible enemy out there. We also have at least one lich out there gunning for us.
Haven't heard anything from him since Everwatch.
It's true. The Temple of the Raven Queen was looking into things.
Oh, yeah, one of the two liches that are out there. Well, possibly out there.
Yeah. There's one we were pretty sure is dead, but not entirely.
I do not think we have
Possibly not
confirmed that. We
Yeah, so it's
probably
possible
should,
she's
but
not
our
dead.
communes are now very
Well, I mean,
precious.
Larament has just got freed up from the sounds of it. It's 6 against 1, so no point researching it early.
I don't think there's an issue in having more information about it if we're going to potentially do something in the future. It means that we don't need to spend those communes later. And it gives people time
Well,
to
except that
mull things over while we're working on other goals.
we said he's changed hands many times already. It's possible he's not in their hands yet, but could be in the future.
That's true.
Mr. 23 on religion, that's not a bad point.
Yeah.
He may not yet be in Zephyr's hands, but Zephyr may be vying to get hold of him.
In which case, we
If
should.
he isn't in those hands, then I do think that it might be worth considering a trade.
Somebody's making a deal with a devil.
Well, I mean that the residuum. That's such a bad idea.
You like Arcus with it. You're on board.
No, so Larmendis does say like it's worth considering making a deal to get him out of the flow of commerce before it gets worse.
Well, we should find out how much his soul is worth.
Mm-hmm. So we need to
Most of our residuum.
see if we can narrow down who, if the one in possession of Roen is of concern to us, and what exactly a soul is worth. I think those are reasonable things to be working on the communes for the simulacrum. It's just out of character. That's just cursed knowledge. Just take it to an insurance person.
1 soul, please.
I've determined that the actual value of a soul is this many GP, so don't go above that in your estimations. And then you start thinking about, like, what is portions of souls and all, and really the insurance market in Amaranta, once Residuum becomes more commonplace, is going to be hell. And I think it will be influenced by hell. Like, I think that's where it's coming from. Because if anyone's coming up with insurance... But, okay, so I think, to summarize, we're going to have some communes going to get a bit more information, but there won't be an extraction before dealing with the dragons. We can have a further discussion about a deal and what that might entail once we know more information about what it would involve. But no extraction until dragons, if extraction is the desired outcome. Yes?
Yes.
And once going twice... I did not catch that.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Alright, so discussion is tabled for now, pending more information, which we'll see about next time as the party continues to hopefully uphold their duties to the army they took over. Then, thank you all for being here. Welcome to 2024. We'll see you next time on Everybody Loves Raiken. Bye, stream.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.